Hello and happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday. Thank you so very much for tuning in to 98.3 FM, The Life. You're listening to Bacon Bits with Master Happiness. And of course, I'm your host, Marty Jalove. I come at you every single Monday night at 7 o'clock to talk about your job, your career, your vision made clear, the skills that you hone for the business that you own, the ups and downs, the smiles and frowns, where you're at and where you're bound. If you miss any of today's episode, again, this is going to be a really interesting episode. A very new friend of mine, and we're going to be talking about something that's going to be very near and dear to my heart, and it should be near and dear to your heart. So if you miss any of today's episode at all, tune in later in the week to Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you listen to podcasts, and listen to the entire episode. So without any further ado, I'm on a quest to bring you the industry best, and my very special guest today is Sweta. And Sweta, what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you introduce yourself. Tell us why we should know you. All right. And kind of some of the things that you do. So you are on.
All right. Hello, everyone. So as you mentioned, my name is Sweta. I just go off a first name basis.
I love it. You're like Cher or Madonna.
Right. No need for the last name. And I moved to Lake County not too long ago. My family has always lived here for a very long time. My family has uprooted so many businesses in Lake County. So now that they're getting older, they're passing it down to me, and I'm basically taking on all of the ones that we are probably going to keep and just kind of restructuring the company, basically. So you probably know me in Lake County, the one that owns Lucky Stop. It's a bar, cocktail lounge, gaming cafe in Round Lake, 208 West Washington Street, Round Lake. So that was my first one. I basically, when we found the spot, I knew it had so much potential, and I wanted to bring all my hospitality experience from all over the world, all over different cities I've worked in, different people I've worked in, and kind of consolidate it and kind of bring it into a small town and just bring a nicer environment, a lounge, and to cafe, because I know those are everywhere, but they're kind of, I wanted to just do something different. I had a vision.
They're all cookie cutter. So I'm glad that you're doing something really different. I
really just laid out the concept. I saw a vision, and I knew that this would be something different. So I went along with my dad. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I'll take this project on. And our 2-year anniversary is in September.
Oh, congratulations. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, now, so you pointed out Lucky Spot, right?
Lucky Stop.
Lucky Stop. I keep saying it, so it's Lucky Stop.
You know why it's called that?
No, tell me.
Okay. So when you pull or you press the play button on the slot machine, you want the luckiest stop is the triple, whether it's 7 is the one you want, because that's the highest spin.
Gotcha.
Or the fruit. So you want all of them in a line. That's your triple lucky stop.
Gotcha. I love it. Now I learned something new today. All right. But you've got some other things, and I know you don't, it's up to you, because you've got some things like you told me that are coming around. I'm trying to trick her into opening up and telling you more, but just wait. You'll see more of her. But also the reason how I met you was you work with the local chamber. So tell me a little bit about that, how you got involved with that.
Yeah. So it was very random. One day I got a call from our director. You probably know him, Mike Ackerman.
Yes.
And he's like, hey, do you want this position? It's opening up. And I had to think about it. And sure. I do make very rapid decisions, but I usually am very good at evaluating what's going to be beneficial or what's not. And probably a week of evaluating, I called him back. I'm like, I'll do it.
Okay. Wow. So how do you split your time before we even get into the depth of it? Well, first off, I just want to say today's episode, it's all about what I'm calling it is planting seeds. And I was talking about this whole idea of diversifying our time, diversifying our income. And I love how you just told me before, it's really more about diversifying your skill set. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's perfect. That's better than what I wrote, because that's exactly what I was thinking. Right. And so we want to talk today about how we expand our offering, our skill set to amplify, duplicate, triple our income, because too many people, I run into people all the time, I'm sure you do, where they're like, oh, I'm just not making enough money. Okay. The boss won't give me a raise. And then I always say, it's up to you. If you can't make money at one place, is what can you do somewhere else? You've got to find some passion there. So you talk about some of the things you did in the past. So you've had some experience working for other people, right? Mm-hmm. And so tell me a little bit of the pros and cons, like what made you move from doing that to saying, I'm going to run something on my own?
So a little background. I worked in Chicago as a bartender. That was probably my first job. Okay. Like I didn't have a normal 9 to 5. I had a normal 9 p.m. to 5 a.m.
Nice. Perfect.
I did that for a long time in my 20s for the most part. I did that. I did VIP hospitality. I grew into that role. So instead of just staying as a bartender and jumping from different locations because it wasn't enough, I grew into the company. I grew differentiated my skill set. I just learned, I watched, and I'm like, I can do this. I can, book VIP experiences. We had a lot of high-end clientele at some of the lounges, the upscale champagne lounges. I worked with all different kinds of audiences. So I know when I go into a place, like what I have to deliver, what I have to give, or how I have to approach something. So it's also just diversifying and knowing your audience as well, because not everything's going to be the same. So I did VIP hospitality, and then I met a lot of amazing friends who became lifelong acquaintances who worked in different fields of entertainment. And I grew up as a dancer. I did dance since I was like 5 years old. My parents enrolled me in like Indian cultural dancing. Then I was a cheerleader, and then I got into hip hop studio. Salsa dancing is what I currently do.
Wow.
So I've always had that passion. So in between that, and then I met a lot of people who were looking casting for dancers, and I got booked on a tour to China. So I moved to China for a year.
Wow, that's amazing.
It was again very rapid. I had a week to decide, get my visas, get all my approvals, send in my reels and everything. And they were basically casting for a dance crew to tour all of China, and we did 21 cities.
Incredible. So as we go through this, I'm just kind of warn or alert the audience. As we go through this, you're going to learn more about this young lady, about her entire life is around diversity. I'm just doing everything. I love how you said you're just impulsive. You're like, all right, let's just do this, which I love. You've got to jump in.
Yeah,
right?
I do a rapid like SWOT analysis in my head. By the way, that stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Yes.
So that happens like rapid fire. But when you've had so many experiences and you've encountered so many different personalities, it kind of happens quite
Perfect. So I love this idea because some people are out there going, I don't think I can do that. And that's okay. You don't have to do that. We're gonna talk a little bit about moving through this slowly. But if you are interested in creating some additional income, if you're interested, even if you're just, I want to create a hobby that maybe pays for itself, something like that, it doesn't always mean that you have to go and start your own business. I mean, sometimes a side hustle, a second income can just be going and working for someone. Who knows? She may need a bartender at her place, right? So with that, I narrowed down a couple of little things here about the hidden cost of putting, like what we're going to call putting all your eggs in one basket. The fear, the tough part about this, and I want to hear your feedback on this, is first off, diversifying, moving out and getting second incomes or third income, etc. What it does is it gives you some security when something unexpected happens. A lot of us have worked for someone specifically, and all of a sudden, it's the old saying, they close the mill and the entire town shuts down, right? Because you're dependent on that one place for your paycheck. So there's security in having a variety of incomes. There's a freedom that it gives you. It takes some stress off your shoulders because you can then feel, hey, if this isn't working for me, I have the ability to walk away from something, not everything. All right. And then finally, the confidence comes, you build some additional self-confidence because it shows I can do something. I'm very successful. So I want to hear a little bit about how someone as young as you, all right.
I'm not that young.
Well, you're fooling us. All right. How someone that I'm going to start, well, you're younger than me. Let's put it that way. So someone like you who really got into it and just like, you feel like you just, you look like someone who has a lot of confidence. And so how do you, like, what kind of advice would you give somebody who's contemplating this, trying to take on that second job or opening their own business, trying to create a side hustle, hoping it'll grow into something bigger? What kind of advice would you give them?
So I normally don't like to dispense advice because what I do is probably just incomparable. Sometimes, like I said, I made rapid decisions.
Yes.
It works for me. I don't always recommend that for everyone, but I would think not just diversify your income, but diversify your network.
I
like
love that.
everything is, think of everything, every minute and every person has an opportunity cost. That everyone you meet has something that you might be able to offer them, they can offer you. And it's, a reciprocal relationship in the world of business. And that's why we do networking events, attend networking events, because you never know, you might have a hidden skill set that somebody you talk to just might be, trigger an interest that could be like, hey, I probably could offer this. I could do marketing. I'm very, especially this young generation, they're very well versed in social media. And they could easily be paired with any company that could use that assistance to gain an online presence or stronger presence online. That is, and everyone has a phone, so everyone should be able to utilize that to the best of their ability.
There you go. I like that. Yeah. So I like that. Two things I wanted to comment on that is you're absolutely right. I couldn't tell you, there's nothing better than networking. You've got to reach out because you never know who you're going to bump into, who needs a service from you, who needs that skill set that you have. They might be able to introduce you to someone else. You've got to get out there as much as possible. And we live now in a time frame where young people don't want to network. They don't want to talk to people. They want to just look into their phone, right?
Mhm.
And so we really have to break out of that. And the message I have to younger people who aren't feeling comfortable breaking out of that is you've got a unique opportunity. When your entire generation has their head down and won't make eye contact, all you have to do is be the one that does. And it gives you such a big head start. It gives you such an advantage over everyone else there. Okay. And the other thing, the other point I want to make, and again, I want to hear your part on this, is we live a life of assumptions. Because when we're good at something, when we can do something, we have a talent, a skill, we automatically assume that it's easy and maybe everyone just can do this. And what's so important is the more you network and you start talking to people and you talk about the things you love to do, the things that you're good at. I never talk about stepping on people and saying I'm better than them. I'm just really good at it. The more you do that, suddenly you find out people going, wow, you can do that. I can't do that. I didn't know anyone could do that. So networking helps you with that. Especially like I'm saying, when we live in a world where we're isolating ourselves behind phones and we're isolating ourselves in our own self-confidence, we think that the things we're good at, anyone can do. So tell me a little bit about your skill set. What makes you special? What makes Sweta like the best Sweta in the world?
Oh, goodness. I'm very adaptable and versatile.
Okay.
I can probably walk into a room with any kind of audience and know, how, like I said, how to deliver,
Yes.
what they can receive or how they are accepting information. Because everyone's different. So sometimes, like if you're walking into a room with Gen Z, I know I got like 5 minutes to capture their attention,
Yep.
or I lose them. So I know to make my speech
Wow,
rapid.
you're giving them 5 minutes. I wouldn't even give them that long.
Well, the best way to capture their attention is through online.
Yes.
So
Yes.
because
yes.
attention is currency, it's a new currency nowadays.
Right.
So
Right.
you have to know your audience. Sometimes if I have a different type of audience and I know what I'm working with. So it's really, that's the best skill is adaptability because that grows in every way. Evolution, business, anything, adaptability.
I agree. Right. I think it has evolved into that. It used to be this IQ that the smartest people that could offer something different. We got into this emotional quotient where it was how can we empathize with other people. But I think right now, you're absolutely right. It's adaptability. It's how quickly we can adapt to changing situations because everything is changing so incredibly quick. Earlier today, I was coaching a team, a different company I work with, coaching their sales staff. And one of the things I kept asking them was, why did this sale work? Why did this one fail? Why did you get a yes here? Why did you get a no here? And the answer I get all the time is, well, we connected. We connected. And I was like, see, that's not a good answer because what you're saying is you found something that meant something to you and you found it in that person. So you made a connection for you, right? It was like, oh, let's say I like cartoons. I like cartooning. I'm an artist. So if they mention cartooning, I'm like, oh, we have that in common. I'm going to talk about that. True networking and the ability to truly adapt is to listen to what they like and finding a connection, something that is maybe minor to me, something I might like, not necessarily something I love. It's not the highest part in my skill set, but I have an interest in it. And maybe it's something they really love. And that to me is the thing that I'm going to capitalize on. I'm going to talk to them about because I want to get that other person talking. I want them interested, right? And I think that's the biggest difference is I saw you work at one of the networking events. You were there.
At Harbor Brewing.
Yes,
that was it. Yes.
Yes. And I saw that was the first time, I think that was the first time we met. And you were great. You took the mic right away. You took the mic. You handled the room. It was wonderful. And I could see this is a person who truly knows how to network like this. And I really want to drive home this point of it's easy for me to talk about the things I'm good at. It's easy for me to talk about the things I love. True networkers have a curiosity that they can talk to anyone to pull out what that person loves, what's of interest to them, and find a way to speak about that intelligently. Okay. I'll bet you that I could name a number of subjects that you are not that familiar with, but mean something to me. And you would be able to hold a deep conversation just through a series of questions.
Exactly. Ask questions. That's my biggest advice. Even if you're not well knowledgeable or have well versed in that topic, ask questions because that will now you're only now you're learning something, but
Yes.
you're also holding an interest. And people love to talk. They love to talk about themselves, and they love to talk about what they love and who they love. So
Why do you think I have a radio station? I love talking. But that's what I mean is so that's when I want to get back to this. Every time I talk to a salesperson, they go, that one I sold because we made a connection. This one we didn't make a connection. I was like, then that's your fault as the salesperson. It's your job is to make a connection. And they're like, yeah, but we have nothing in common. You find something. Have you ever really, Sweta, let me ask you this, because I can tell by your personality. Have you ever really met somebody that you were like, wow, we had nothing to talk about?
well, as long as it took me to answer that, no.
Yes.
I'm like,
Has it ever happened? Has it ever? No, exactly. And that's what's special about it. It's kind of a funny story. When I was dating my wife, we used to do places like go to the art museum and things like this. And I used to purposely wear sports jerseys, like they would say the White Sox or the Cubs or something like that. And I don't really follow sports at all. And she would say, why do you wear those shirts? Because people are going to talk to you. And I was like, that's right. I can have conversations with anyone on any subject matter. It's just a matter of asking questions, agreeing, reading their face, how they're feeling about it. And I'd sit there and have long conversations with things, walk away and go, I have no idea what they were talking about, which is a little different than what you were saying. Let's learn from it. But it's that idea of being able to open up and have enough confidence in yourself to talk with people about anything and having enough courage to say, I don't know what that means. Can you tell me more?
it's like reading a live book.
That's it. Oh, I love it. I love that. I love that so much. All right. So, Sweta, this was great. I invited you on the show. You know, we talked really briefly. You're like, yeah, if you have an opening, I would love to do the show. And then immediately I was like, I have an opening. This is excellent. So you didn't get a chance much to listen to many of my shows, but there's one common thread through every one of my shows. So we'll see how much you know this. Is the reason it's called Bacon Bits is, and you're nodding your head. I love that in a guest. Okay.
Have you ever had a herbivore on your show? A herbivore.
Oh.
I was laughing at that because I mean, I know it's Bacon Bits.
No, but that's all right. That's all right. So it's perfect. It's perfect. What I was going to say was that this idea that I use bacon, BACON, as the acronym for a loose outline of what we're going to talk about. But it's not the bacon for chewing, so it works for you. Do you know
exactly?
You know what the next line is? It's not the bacon for chewing.
I should.
No, that's all right. It's the bacon for doing. Okay. That's all it was. That's all right. That's okay. So it works out. You're a herbivore. That's perfectly fine. It works out because you're not eating any bacon here. We're just talking bacon. All right. So the BACON, which is the loose outline for the rest of the show that we're going off on, and I always say it's a very loose outline. The tangents may take us somewhere more interesting. But when we're talking about how to diversify our skill set, our income, our time, etc., is going to be B, build your base first. Okay, so you have that comfort, you have that, you've alleviated some stress. A is going to be assess your assets, which is exactly what you've been talking about. What kind of skill sets do you have? What time do you have? What kind of backing do you have? C is create multiple streams. Don't rely on just this one. We're going to talk about moving slowly. You don't want to start 10 businesses at the same time. O is going to be optimize your time. All right. Understand you only have 24 hours a day. And there's some other things you're probably going to want to do in those hours other than just work. And then finally is the one we've been talking about so much is N is navigate your network. Okay. It's so important to work with the people that you already know and see how you can capitalize on those partnerships. So when we talk about building your base first, what was the first thing that you did? And then tell me like the step-by-step. You talked a little bit about taking over this one sports. It's a gaming bar, right?
Cocktail gaming bar. Yeah.
Okay. After that, so what was like the first couple of days when you were like, now I'm in charge? What was this like? And then what were the wheels doing when you're saying I've got to do something else as well?
Well, to be honest, this one actually was tricky because I don't have a following in Lake County. I'm from Chicago, so that's where bulk of my network is. So I basically had to start from scratch. So the first thing I did is join the Chamber of Commerce, not knowing a single person.
Perfect.
A year later, I'm their events director. So that worked fast. But yes. I got to meet so many people. They actually came along with the village of Round Lake and everyone for our grand openings. And I was surprised, like I didn't know that many people. I think we're at capacity.
Wow, nice.
Because it's a smaller space, so we can't fit that many people. And I was like, whoa, I don't even know all these people. And I met every single one of them, sent every single one a thank you note afterwards. And I just wanted to follow up and keep in touch, and just seeing. That's when I started going to all the networking events. And that became foundational. And now like I said, it's been 2 years and it's rocking and rolling. It's going great.
Okay. And so how long have you been now the events director with the chamber?
I started in January.
Okay. So fairly new at that. Awesome. All right. So when I look at this whole idea of building your base first, it's the same with me when I was working for a much larger company. I was the VP of sales and marketing and research and development. And in the side hustle, the side thing I was doing was I was coaching small businesses. And I really was realizing the difference between what do I really love to do? And I really wanted coaching the small business to be the biggest part of my income. And I wanted, push came to shove in about March of 2020, and I ended up leaving that company and went full time with my business. Now, this was also the same time that COVID hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really tough to suddenly knock on doors and say, hey, you need a business coach. And they're like, we're just making ends meet. We don't need you now, right? So I had to diversify. I started teaching children classes on public speaking and debate skills. And these were kids. It was actually funny. It was a Chinese school. So it's just a little coincidence.
Did you teach in different languages? Or?
I barely speak American, let alone. That's what I would tell them. They were like, can you help us with, speaking English? I was like, I don't speak English. I speak American, which is a bunch of short phrases. Okay. So no, I don't speak any Chinese, no Mandarin, nothing. But I started teaching them, and this kids as young as 6 years old up through high school. So I started doing that. I started doing social media work for people, website design, everything and anything to do all of the stuff with any place that my skill set would fit in, any place that I could make some money while I was building this other business that I really wanted. And it's important to do that, but it's important to find those things that are not just my skill set, but things that I really, truly enjoyed doing. So that every day when I went to bed, I was kind of like going, I had a good day. I enjoyed that. I helped somebody. And then as time slowly progressed, it changed. I started picking up customers, and I'm doing all kinds of stuff. So I'm definitely living the life I've always dreamt of. Okay. I truly believe like I dreamt of. I didn't really think it was possible. All right. But it's important to do all of those things with some goal in mind of saying, this is what I want to accomplish. And so there's still some people come to me later and they go, hey, can you help us build a website? Can you do this? And I'm like, no, I have to limit my time. Okay. And that's not where I need to put my time. So I find time to do this, the radio show. I find time to do a lot of work for not for profits. I loved being part of the chamber as the whole heckler. That was just so much fun. Okay. So we do all kinds of things. If you were to, rub a lamp and everything was perfect, and you could get another income or the perfect income, what do you think you'd be doing?
Exactly what I'm doing right now.
Awesome. Good answer. That's the perfect answer. Excellent. I love this. As you can tell already, anyone who listens to the show knows that I don't prep any of my guests with anything. They come here. All I tell them is it's a conversation, let it flow, and let's just go. So occasionally I throw a question where people are like, I didn't expect that question. All right. And I know you just got finished saying you don't like giving a lot of advice to other people because we're all different. But what would you say, if you have any advice, an opinion, educated guess for people that you would say this makes sense if you're looking to do something like this, like getting a second income? What would you tell them?
So I would go back to a lot of people that are not owning a company or in charge of their own business or having a predominant role. Let's think of, instead of just looking for other opportunities and having two jobs, can you grow within the company?
Oh, nice.
And that's what I do at my bar. I see everyone, of course, they're hired as a bartender, but there are so much different things that I bring out in them. And sometimes I'll be like, okay, well, you're very creative. Can you create a cocktail menu? Maybe I can name it after you. Maybe I can do this, or maybe you can become our mixologist, or in-house mixologist. I like to do everything in-house. Same thing with, there was our karaoke DJ. I'm going to give him a shout out. DJ Rusty, every Tuesday at karaoke from 7 p.m. onwards. And he started at Lucky Stop.
Nice.
Very
It's,
first.
it's not our Rusty here. It's a different
No,
Rusty.
it's
Right, right.
it's DJ Rusty, and he
Nice.
is our karaoke DJ. But he just wanted to get his feet warm in that industry, and so he got his equipment. I'm like, let's start you here. Let's have a Tuesday night. Let's see how it goes. And it's been, I think, almost a year since we've had that night, and he's getting gigs everywhere else now.
Nice.
So I'd
Excellent.
like to just see what I can pull out of people, and that's always been my talent. It's
That's
like
beautiful.
everyone's like, well, what is your dream? And I'm like, it's making other people's dreams come true. I love
I
when
love
that
that.
happens, because
Yes.
I love seeing like people just shine on their own. Even if they're like, I'll train them, and I'll be like, if they're young, I'll be like, this should not be your last stop. Like, you're young, especially if you're under 30.
Man. Yes.
I'm like, train here. I could see you working in a bigger city, a bigger lounge, a bigger bar, because this industry is a revolving door.
Uh-huh.
And people come and go. That's, it's not a place of permanence, because we're not like a huge corporation.
Right,
but,
right.
In time, and not like, I mean, usually it's like 5-10 years, people come and go, but we love, and it's nice to have revolving stuff, because it's good to see people go on and achieve their own dreams instead of working under you.
I like it. Yeah. You know what? That is my mindset. That I believe that's so deep in my heart and soul, what you just said. And it's sad because so many businesses don't. They feel like, and obviously I'm going to talk about the extreme, but so many businesses feel like I'm going to hire somebody, squeeze as much as I can out of them, the work. And then if they quit, that's fine. I'll hire somebody else. And I've met people with just that attitude of going, they want to quit, let them quit. I can hire somebody else. And I was like, no, the dream is if I start a business, I want to bring people, I want to help them grow. I want to see them become something, right? And I always like this idea of being really clear with employees and say, there's no guarantee you're going to be here for the rest of your life, right? Especially like you just said, it's a revolving door business. So why don't we do this? I promise I'll help you learn new things. I'll help you grow. And then why not you, while you're here for however long it is, why not do something amazing here? So when you walk out of here, you have something on your resume, right? I worked with Sweta, and together we did this, this, and this, as opposed to, I worked at that bar for 6 months and then I left. Who are you going to want to hire, right?
Right.
And so you have an opportunity everywhere you go to become a better version of yourself. All right. And especially when you have someone like you, a manager or an owner who has that same attitude saying, I want to help you grow. That's exactly where you want to be. So that's tremendous. Before we go any further, I'm going to come back to you, but we have to take a little break. Can you believe it already? We're halfway done with the show.
Wow, that went by fast.
It went very fast. So hold on, everyone. We got so much more to go. We just touched on the bee and bacon. We've got a whole bunch. We're aching for the rest of the bacon. All right. So be right back right after these couple of short messages about the other shows. So hold on. And we are back. Thank you so very much for staying tuned in to 98.3 FM, The Life. You're listening to Bacon Bits with Master Happiness. I'm Marty Jalove, your host. And today I'm here with Sweta, who is just like soon to be the owner of Lake County. All right. She joked a little bit about people don't really know her yet, but I'll tell you, you're going to meet her, chat with her for like 30 seconds, and you're going to wish that she's your best friend. All right. That's why I invited her to my show. I want her to be my best friend. Okay. So we'll see what happens. But she is the owner of at least one establishment, many more in the near future. She is the events director at one of the local chambers of commerce, and we'll talk more about that. And plus, you'll be able to connect directly with her. I usually on the blog post I put afterwards, I put some connections to your LinkedIn post or your LinkedIn profile, but we'll also put a connection to your business. Okay, so we'll follow up with it.
Profile is very old.
Yeah, I know. I asked you for a friend request, you ignored me, so that's okay. All right. So far, the bacon we're talking about is how we diversify our skill set, how we diversify our income, our time, etc., to make the most of us. We have a lot of things we can offer to other people, and we should make that a normal part of our lives. One of the things, Sweta, that I always tell people at night before I go to bed, I ask myself, how did I shine, sharpen, and share today? Okay. And what that means is, how did I shine? How did I use the gifts, the talents, the abilities I have for good? How did I make myself proud to be me every day? Okay, that's the shine part. The share part is, the sharpen part is, how did I improve myself? What did I learn today? So I listen to a lot of audiobooks back and forth between home and the radio station. I work with other people. I ask a lot of questions like we talked about. And then finally, what good is it to be really good at certain things, continue to improve them if you're not going to share them with the world. So the question is, how did you share today? That's another reason for having this, having someone like you. I'm going to learn from you. We're going to share it with everybody. All right. So with this, so far in the bacon, we've been talking about B was build your base first. And we're talking about, making sure your monthly needs are met, making sure you're set with your base. Let's say you're working someplace, make sure everything's okay there. I like how you said you can diversify within a business that you're working at. You don't necessarily have to open another business. You don't have to go and necessarily jump into a side hustle. The next letter in bacon is going to be A, is assess your assets. This is going to be your skills, your time, your relationships. So I'm going to ask you this is what would you say your assets? What is it the thing that you bring to the table that you're really strong in? Not to say that you're the best in the world, but these are the assets that you're to say, if you're going to make that pseudo kind of side hustle resume, what would be those things that make you who you are?
Well, my forte has always been hospitality. I genuinely enjoy being hospitable. It's not just about the income or the money. I love seeing people smile when they leave the place, that they're satisfied with everything when they're walking in the door. So it's just that transaction or that change of like people's moods that I could, switch.
Nice. I like that. All right. What else? Come on. There's something else. There's hospitality. What else?
Well, back in the day,
yes,
I'm old.
My God.
I briefly worked for a private investigation company.
Oh, that's right. I saw that on LinkedIn. I was like, that's cool. Okay.
Same thing. I met somebody at the bar. It was actually my friend who also bartended with me. Her husband was a former Homeland.
Okay.
And he owned his own private investigation firm. And when he's always come to the bar, he would just talk to us. And I just ask questions because I'm always curious. I'm like, how does this work? How does life work? How do things work? And I would just be so intrigued. And naturally, I just always had an inclined ability to find out stuff. But I think that's every woman.
Okay. All right.
So I always was interested. And I was like, how did you get into this career? And he's like, well, I actually have a training school. I actually teach. So basically in Illinois, you just have to get a PERC card, which is the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulations. You get certified with them. You train a certain number of hours. You get your fingerprints. You get a test taken through the school. And then you can work only under a licensed private investigator. So I did that for about a year. And then I wanted more because it's very limiting when you're not you're not a licensed detective. Those are two different roles.
Okay.
So I went to, and that's when COVID happened also.
Of course.
So when I came back out here, I went to CLC and got a paralegal certification. So I did that for a year and a half. So I can be a paralegal, which I haven't utilized yet, but same thing. Those skill sets become handy in business, contract writing, employment law, labor law, everything. Like all of that, you kind of know at the back of your head. So obviously you still have we have our law firms that we have representing our businesses, but just having that information, you can write contracts, you can, learn about employment law. So you kind of know the ins and outs of a business, business law, copyright and patent law. That comes very handy.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's one of the things I knew is when we had karaoke nights, every establishment legally has to have a license to operate karaoke.
Okay. Oh,
so
really?
just having that in the back of your head, knowing, things like that. Yeah, it really does help.
I love it. I love this so much. Like I told you before I started my business, I was working for a company where I handled sales, marketing, and research and development. And so this was just such a wide variety of knowledge that I learned while I was growing, right? I was in an industry that I was able to be one of those people asking a lot of questions. Well, what about this? What if this? Well, what if we change this? Has anyone ever done this? All those kinds of questions. What do you need? What don't you need? What would be silly? What would be amazing, right? You keep asking those questions and you're able to create stuff. And the more you ask questions, the more you network people then like you and trust you. And you become better at sales. You become better at understanding what products are right for the market. And once you can do that, the marketing part of it kind of falls into place. And so I was very successful in this industry. And it was really interesting. I just was in Las Vegas last week with the industry I left, and I went to a trade show, and just great to see so many people who know me, remember me, and are like, oh my God, it's good to see you and stuff like that. So it's that combination, like you're saying, is understand your skill set, what you can bring to the table, what makes you special, not necessarily the greatest in the world, okay, but just this is who you are. I always tell people, create a Venn diagram of yourself. I'm a cartoonist. I love to draw. I love to try to write comedy. I'm not great at it. I try to do that. I do write speeches. I'm a public speaker. I've written many books. I'm working on my ninth book right now. Okay. And you start looking at all these different things, you put them together. That's who I am. And you're absolutely right. What I learned from one thing, I can apply somewhere else. And too many people think all I know is one thing. And nobody out there only knows one thing. We all know so many things. And it's up to us to dig into that. Say, this is what I like to do. This is what I'm good at. How do I combine theirs? Where do they overlap? And using that skill set to do something more. Okay. So with that, what about relationships? So you work with your family. What about other people through the networking? Can you share any quick stories about how someone you networked with has helped your business?
Right here, right now.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Who? Oh, that's right. Me. Excellent. Yes. Yes. Hopefully this will do this. So we'll do that one more time. It's the lucky spot.
Stop.
And we'll never get it right. This is how everyone will remember it. It's the lucky stop. There you go. All right. So I got it. I'm going to forget it again, one more time.
Sorry.
And that's all right. And where is that located one more time?
208 West Washington Street in Round Lake.
Perfect. This is not a commercial. It's just a friend helping a friend. All right. So after we assess our assets here, we get into C, and that is create multiple streams. Okay. I think it's really important for us to do different things, test the water with different things, because one thing is going to bring in a little bit of income, but might take a lot of work. Another thing is only a little bit of work, but bring in more income. One thing is going to be really profitable, but it doesn't bring me joy. Another thing is going to bring me immense joy, but not make me any money. So it's important to put multiple like lines in the water. Take a look at different things to find out what your fit is, and don't be afraid to keep changing it. There's no finish line. Okay. If an opportunity came your way that seemed right, you're quick to make a decision. You'd probably go, that sounds good. Let's do it. Right. So the question is, what's kind of what's the craziest thing that came your way that you thought, let's try this, and maybe it worked. And it could be either to make income, just to be fun, to have fun, a marketing scheme for one of the businesses or something like that. What's something crazy that's happened?
Well, I
don't mean to throw you under the bus.
no. Well, my whole life is crazy,
Yeah.
but
All right.
so what I've done with different marketing streams are, just within the Lucky Stop is I teach mixology. Like, I love art.
That's neat.
Creator.
Yeah.
So what I did is I built a program. So basically all my staff got to do it for free, but I also opened tickets up to other people that wanted to learn the art of the cocktail.
That's beautiful.
And it's a 4-hour class.
That's perfect. That is exactly what I'm talking about. You take a look at what you're currently doing and saying, how can I expand upon this? So obviously you love making cocktails. It's something cool. It's that mix of entertainment and chemistry, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So and then for you to turn it into something to go, I can make money at it. Right. That's exactly what people need to hear when we talk about creating these multiple streams. There's no limit to the direction you can go in. Okay. So after this, the O here in Bacon is optimize your time. All right. So for someone like you, there's only 24 hours in a day. What type of time management do you use?
Well, like I said, every minute, every hour is an opportunity cost. So
Yep.
I've been just doing this so long. I kind of know what I want to do and what I will table for later and what I will say no to. And it's just evaluating not just what's good for you, but also for your physical self. What are you physically capable of doing? Because we can't be everywhere all at once. So
Correct.
My goal is with all the businesses that I'm trying to rebrand, eventually it's just kind of moving somebody up into a managerial position that could take on the roles that I'm doing right now. So I don't have to be at every single place. That takes time, and because they have to learn the ins and outs. And one of the things of any industry is know the industry well.
Okay.
Know it well.
Sure. Yeah.
Even if you're just investing, don't invest blindly. Know what you're doing. Know a little bit about the structure of the industry, the players, a little bit of all of that.
I like that. I like that a lot. I really like what you just said about you're bringing people up. I think if you really want to be successful running these businesses, you've got to constantly be training somebody to take your place, right? And I believe wholeheartedly, and I just use the number 80 just because it's a number, right, is that once you are really at that point of, I got this, I understand this at 80%, I'm really good at this, It is time for you to train someone to do that so you can move and start learning something else. If you wait till you are the absolute best, if you wait till you're 100% in something and then wait, and then that's when you start training someone, you'll never get ahead. You've got to get to a point of going, I've got a really good understanding of this. I've got this. I understand. I know what I know, and I know the things I don't know, right? Because what you're going to do is you're going to bring somebody up into that position, and maybe that person is so in love with that task, they become the 100% you need. But you've got to, as a leader, as a business owner, you've got to be ready to move on to the next thing. And you're going to say, now I'm going to learn how to do this, and I'm going to hand it off to somebody else. If you're not like that, you're stuck working in your own business, and you're not moving around. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. And we only have so much energy. We only have so much time, right? We've got to really pay attention to that. So do you sleep good at night? So you do a full 8 hours of sleep?
I don't need 8 hours. I feel like I could get by with 5.
No, I can.
You probably
Good.
see me on Facebook posting at 4 a.m.
Nice. I'll tell you what. So I'll take your other 3 because I could always use a couple more hours of sleep. That's what
It's all
I feel
yours.
like. All right, thank you. All right. So with that, the optimizing time. One of the other cool things is one of the books I put out, which is available on Amazon, is it's called "It's Your Time," and I wrote a whole book on time management because that was one of the things that I found so difficult for me. I got easily distracted. I procrastinated on those things that I didn't like to do, and then I get distracted by things that, like, the shiny silver and the funny noises. I was like, oh, let me see what's going on over there. And so I had to realize that the time management techniques that I was using or that other people were telling me were really successful didn't necessarily work for me. So I wrote this book about choosing time management techniques based on your personality type. So I had to do a deep dive on who I really am, how I manage tasks, and then this book then helps me guide myself to the right type of time management, and it's been really successful for me.
Did you do like the Myers-Briggs personality thing?
It's not
You're talking about,
yeah,
right?
completely. I had to think of something, a way to do the personality. So instead of that one, there's one that's called the Big Five. It
I've
is
heard of that.
yeah. So I use that one, and one of the reasons you'll love why I used it is it's ocean. It's like openness, conscientiousness. It's EAN. It's ocean. And so what I did was the one that's the E. I changed the B, so instead of ocean, it spells bacon. So that's why I had to go with that. So anyway, it's a worthwhile book. Is available on Amazon. But with this Amazon, it's so important to. I don't believe that we balance life. I think that's a kind of a fallacy to say a work-life balance, because what you've got to do is you've got to find those things that are important. My life with my kids and my wife is much okay. So when we say it's a balance, I'm going to give more time and energy. I want to give more time and energy to them when they need me, right? And so what you do is you have to find out what it is for you. You're going to have time for your family. You're going to have time for your friends. You're going to have time for just fun. You're going to have time to sleep. You're going to have to make time to eat, make time to earn money, make time to investigate for future income, right? So you really got to work that through. There is very little time to sit and binge Netflix. I'm sorry, Netflix. Okay. But if you find time to do that, then I would say you're successful. Either that or you're lazy procrastinator. All right. All right. So with that, the last one here is N, and that is navigate your network. So what we did here was we went through with Bacon, which is B, build your base first, assess your assets. C is create multiple streams. O is optimize your time, and N is navigate your network. All right. So give me some Sweta clues and tips, the tips and tricks of walking into a networking group, because you walked in, same with me when I started my business, walked into my first chamber meeting, didn't know anyone, didn't know even what I was supposed to say, didn't know how to describe what my business was. So give me an idea, some of your tips and tricks when you're networking.
So I know the hackneyed aphorism is your network is your net worth. And I kind of want to dispel that a little bit, because you can have 100,000 followers and not a single one of them will support you. And that's becoming a trend, especially on social media. There's so many fake followers or
Oh
people
my
that
God,
are
yes.
just following because they were asked to follow. But one thing this advice I would give, because it's tried and true, is don't just go up to networking events, just show up. And I mean, you can go to one event, and I see this constantly. People will go to an event because they have a new business or they want to promote something new or have a deal. They'll pass out their flyers and then they won't show up for another 5 events.
Right.
That may work if you're like a big celebrity and you're really cool. It will be forever memorable, but it really does take repetition. Even if it's the same people, keep going. And that's exactly what I did. As soon as I joined the chamber, I probably went to every single event that I could possibly attend. And that kind of builds not just, because when you go to a networking event, you hand out your cards. I'll be honest, most people will just put them away in a desk or throw them out. They're not going to remember much about you. If you repetitively go, now you're building a rapport with different people. And that confidence in the other person. And I can tell you, I've had a lot of chamber members show up to my place just because I became more than just a business acquaintance. I was a friend to them. And that's what would help, because repetition creates a ritual, basically. It's a practice. So now you're going to all these events and repeatedly going to them. People start to remember more than just your name and your face. They remember a story about you, what you do. They'll remember your place. And every time I go somewhere, people will be like, "You're that girl from Lucky Stop." And I'm like, yeah. They're like, "We met at that one event." I'm like, nice. "Oh, you remembered."
Nice. I like it. I'm loving everything you're saying. One of the things that I did when I started going is I started wearing these Hawaiian shirts. Okay. I walked in the first time I went to a networking event. I was like, I don't know, do I wear a polo shirt with my logo on it? Do I wear a sports coat? And I'm like, no, I'm going to wear a Hawaiian shirt. And I didn't have it. They weren't personalized with my logo, just a Hawaiian shirt. I walked in there, and then the first time people came up to me and go, "With the Hawaiian shirt, you go, you're going on vacation." But I found it to be my brand. It was the way that I stood out among everyone else. And I teach people that find the thing that differentiates you. Okay. Even if you're not the one who's outspoken and you're going to walk around and talk to everybody, find something to get people to come and talk to you. All right. And now I got to a point almost at the meetings I would go to. I was wearing these so often. Some people, I had a guy come up to me and goes, "I have like 3 Hawaiian shirts, but I can't wear them because my wife keeps going, 'What are you trying to dress like Marty?'" Right. But it was cool because then when I started going outside of this to a larger audience, people were like, "Hey, you're the happy, smiley guy. You're the master happiness guy. You're Mr. Bacon, right? You're the Hawaiian shirt guy." And I started getting all these monikers because they had seen me enough. They'd seen me on social media. I put my face on my books. I put my face everywhere. And people are like, "Man, what an ego." And I'm like, "Yeah, I have an enormous ego, but I want to be remembered. The brand is me." And so I think it's really important to find a way to differentiate yourself when you go in there. And when you go to a networking event, go in with a plan, always with a plan, and walk in and say, "Today I'm going to go into this event and I'm going to collect 3 business cards. Today I'm going to go here and I'm going to have 2 really good conversations. Today I'm going to go in here and I'm going to meet 5 real estate agents." Whatever it is, come up with a concrete plan so you can say the event was a success or a failure. Okay. Too often, it, we see it. People walk in, they're like, "I don't know anyone here. I'm just going to stand by the bar and have a drink." Now it's over and they leave. Right. And instead, no, just put yourself out there and say, "I'm going to collect 10 business cards," whatever it is. But, and I urge you, don't just say, "Here's my card. Do you have a card? Bye." No, right. Have a conversation tied to it. Okay. The other thing that I add to it, and you'll like this, is one of the reasons I wrote books was better than handing a business card. I love handing someone a book and saying, "Here's one of the books." After we talked, "Hey, wait a second." And I just did this at, one of the other events. We talked to a few people. I'm like, "You know what? I got something for you. Let me run to the car." You run to the car, come back with a book, sign the book and say, "Here's my book." They don't throw away a book, but they'll throw away a business card really easy.
And that makes it so much more memorable.
Completely. It makes me stand out as, "Oh, that's the guy who wrote that book. And oh, this is really cool." Even if they don't read the book, they're going to look at it, and what's on the cover of the book? My big smiling face. All right. So what's your, do you have any go-to questions when you're networking? When you walk into a networking group, do you look at people and say, what's the first thing that comes out of your mouth?
Oh, goodness.
I told you I was going to throw something difficult.
It's random. I don't have a go-to. It's really just, I assess, everything. Like I said, I walk in, I'm more observing than absorbing. Like when I'm really observing, reading the room. That's always been a natural, innate ability of mine. Like I was saying, I observe everything. I notice everything. And especially if there's somebody that's just standing alone, that's the first person I'll go to.
Okay.
Especially in this events position as the events director. That's my goal, is to kind of each other or get to know someone they haven't talked to.
Gotcha.
So I'll go to the lone wolf. I'm like, hey, what's up?
Okay, cool. I always I got so tired of people walking up to me and saying, "Hi, I'm Bruce Johnson. I run ABC, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Oh my gosh," And it was like that's what everyone was doing, and I understood. We're trying to introduce ourselves like that, and we're trying to get that name across. But by the time they got to a point that was of interest to me, where they finally said something, I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know that." What happens? Everyone goes, "And what's your name again?" Even though that was the first thing they said, right? So instead, I like asking people questions like, "What was the last movie you saw?" Walk right up and go, "Hi, what was the last movie you saw?" Or "What was the most amazing thing you did this week? What's the biggest project you've got going on right now? What puts a smile on your face?" I like asking that more of a personal question because it's different than what other people ask, right? And then they have to stop and they have to think about it. And then when they give an answer, it's something that's meaningful to them. And then they're looking at a person they've never met and go, "Oh, well, I just saw great, this movie." I'm like, "Oh, I heard about that. Is that pretty good?" It opens it up to a conversation, and it gives us a connection because I'm asking something about them that I can build upon. All right. And then from then, like I said, people like us, where we can build upon anything they say. Okay. I'm going to go on with that. We're going to continue to converse. And then at some point in time, they're going to ask me, "What is it that you do?" Right. And it's so cool. I'll then have the opportunity to talk to them. Right. And I just was at some event where they all go around the circle and they introduce themselves. And it's amazing. I went and I said, "I can't remember anyone's name in this room," because they're like, "My name is Betty, blah, blah, blah. And I run the florist over, blah, blah, blah." And by the time you go, "And we're having a sale," and, "Oh, she's having, what's her name?" You forget. I don't know why we start with our name, because that's the least important thing to the person we're talking to. I would rather talk about the problem that you have that I might be able to solve. Okay. So with that, we're look at this. We're at the top of the hour. This went really, really quick. Some of the things I just want to say, the common mistakes about what we've been talking about when we're looking at trying to diversify our skill set. I love that. I'm going to change the blog post. Make sure I did that because that's your line. Diversifying our skill set, diversifying our time, etc., in order to make some additional income or just the income that we want. Make sure you don't spread yourself too thin. All right. Make sure you don't quit too soon. All right. There's so many people who, if they just hung on just one more week, one more day, something would have happened. Sometimes the biggest mistakes is we ignore our base. We're constantly going after the new venture that we don't take care of what our base is, where we're making money. Right. And then the other thing is going it alone. There's no reason for you to do anything alone. So, Sweta, one last time, we got like a minute or so. So, the camera's on you. Tell us again who you are, where we can bump into you if somebody wants to pick your brain or have a drink, and and any words of wisdom.
All right. Well, you can find me at Lucky Stop at 208 West Washington Street. Often there. If I'm not there, I'm probably at a chamber event. It's Lake Villa-Lindenhurst-Round Lake Area Chamber of Commerce, and we have monthly mixers. If your business, join us.
There you go. I love it. Love it. All right. And thank you so very much. Just give me a day or so to get this recording up on the RSS feed so you can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Music, any place you listen to podcasts. You'll be able to see it on my YouTube channel, which is going to be Master Happiness with Marty Jalove. And Sweta, I have a little gift for you. Like I told you, this is one of the books I made right here. This one is called Manage Monkeys, Lead Lions. And I love this book. It's inspiring teams from apathy to ambition. So what it does is we talked a little bit about personality. So this book is a little quiz. So you give your employees a quiz. Think about it in your head. And what it does is it divides them into 4 quadrants. And then from those 4 quadrants, breaks it down even further on how to motivate them as individuals. So thank you so very much.
Thank you. How did you know I'm a bibliophile? This is awesome. I will probably read this today.
Wow. Well, don't read it while you're driving. All right. All right. Thank you all so very much for staying tuned in. Tune in next week for the next episode of Bacon Bits with Master Happiness.